Hi, I'm Alison Massey, registered dietitian and certified diabetes care and education specialist. Today, I want to talk about breakfast, one of the best meals of my day because I just love breakfast food. So one of the things that a lot of my clients talk about is the fact that they ate oatmeal every single day when they were growing up. They just can't even think about eating oatmeal anymore. Well, I hope my recipe today will inspire you to reconsider oats as a way to start the day by doing them up a little bit differently. And what we're going to talk about is doing a baked oatmeal, which is fantastic for prep ahead. You can also customize this to your preferences, which is great. I'm using most ingredients or the staple ingredients from the Dollar Tree, although I did have to use a few other things for the seasonings, as well as kind of some things I already had on hand, things like baking soda. So let's get started. This recipe was actually inspired by the first baked oatmeal recipe that I made for my family, and that's from this cookbook that I recommend to a lot of my clients. It's by Ellie Krieger, a registered dietitian, and it's called You Have It Made. And really healthy, delicious meals that you can make ahead, prepare for the week. So I do recommend that you check this out at the library or grab a copy if you happen to be at the bookstore, because there's a lot of good recipes in here. And the recipe I'm going to share is not exactly like hers, but it is inspired by her baked oatmeal. So let's talk a little bit about what I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So at the Dollar Tree, they had old-fashioned oats. So instead of just making a bowl of oatmeal, and there's nothing wrong with that, I wanted to do a baked version. And the great thing about the baked version is that you can make this and then reheat it during the week, so you don't have to make breakfast every single morning. So oats are a great source of fiber, and that's why I do like recommending including oats in your diet. So to make the baked oatmeal, I'm actually using 2 cups of these old-fashioned oats. And then what you need is about 2 cups of some type of milk. So at the Dollar Tree, I picked up 2 different shelf-stable milks that they had on the shelves there. They had an oat milk and they had an almond milk. So the almond milk is the one I'm going to use today. There's about 4 cups that come in this box here. And I used 2 for the baked oatmeal that I already made that I want to show you at the end. And I'm going to use the other 2 cups for this. So a lot of my clients with diabetes use almond milk. And part of the reason that they do that is because it tends to be very low in carbohydrate. The nice thing about almond milk is that it is fortified with calcium. So you are getting as much calcium as cow's milk, if not a little bit more. The only problem is there's no protein in almond milk. So we're going to look for those protein sources at this breakfast from other areas. But again, low carb, there's calcium in here. So it's a very good option. And do compare, because there's a lot of almond or plant-based milks that are in the refrigerated section, but I do encourage you to kind of look at the ones that are shelf stable that you'll find down the aisles in the grocery store and compare the prices. It's also great to get the ones that you can keep in your pantry because they definitely have a long kind of shelf life. So this is what I'm going to use this time. I picked up the almond or oat-based milk, it's unsweetened, and I like oat milk more in things like coffee. So that's why I got 2 different options. And for those that are using plant-based milks, oftentimes you might use like one thing in something like hot beverages, and then you might use something else in baking and other recipes or food preparation. So the next step is adding the 2 cups of my almond milk in this case. And now I'm going to add my fruit. So this is where you can really customize it. So what I'm using are the peaches slices that I bought from the Dollar Tree. So these were packed actually in water and pear juice concentrate. So I drained these off and then I just kind of diced them up. I'm using about half the can in this case, and I used the other half in the part of the recipe that I already actually prepared. So you could use apples here, you could use pears, You could use dried fruit if you wanted to add a few raisins. You can make this all different ways. So this is kind of like my version of like a peach pie baked oatmeal, if you will. So we use the canned peaches from the Dollar Tree. Next up, we're going to add 1 egg, and the egg kind of binds everything together. So we're going to add our 1 egg here. And then I forgot to mention, but you should, before you get started, you really want to preheat your oven to about 375. I already have my oven going, so I forgot to mention it, but yeah, 375. This is going to bake for about 40 minutes. So not something you're going to want to make when you need to rush right out the door, but you could make it on a weekend and then you're ready for the work week, or if you have time in the morning, maybe you bake it and then again you could eat off of it for several days. So we're going to add the egg to my mixture here that I have. So far I have 2 cups of oats, half a can of the peaches that I diced up, 2 cups of my almond milk. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of 100% canola oil. So we need about 2 tablespoons. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of the canola oil and do that. I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon, if you will, of my vanilla extract. You could also change this up, and if you have like almond extract, that's the great thing I love about baked oatmeal is like once you kind of have the base ratio, you can make it your own and really add all different kinds of things. We're going to do baking powder here, and I'm going to do about a teaspoon of baking powder. So I'm going to add that right in, and then next up we're going to add some spices. So I'm doing cinnamon and I'm going to do ginger. So for all intents and purposes, I'm adding roughly about a teaspoon of cinnamon. You don't even have to measure it exactly if you don't want to. And then ginger, I'm going to do probably like a quarter of a teaspoon. So not quite as much. I love ginger, so it probably looks like more of half a teaspoon. And all we're going to do is kind of mix this up. Now, you could do it and bake it just like this, or you can add a little bit of a sweetener to that. So I'm going to add just a little bit of maple syrup to kind of sweeten it up a bit. You can leave that out. So again, you can really customize this if you had other types of sweeteners like monk fruit or something. I just like a little bit of the flavor of the maple syrup, but I'm not adding a lot. So I'm going to do probably not even a quarter of a cup. We're just going to add a little bit, and that's for the whole recipe. So I'm going to show you the finished product. Just like the magic of television, I have one already done. So you can see how big it is. I bake mine typically in a deep pie dish, and you can get quite a few servings out of that. The shallower pie dish isn't quite enough for the volume of oats and mixture I have here, but that's really all there is to it. So I would take this mixture, I would add it to my deep dish pie. If you have a square pan, you can use what you have at home. And then I had some like leftover pecans, and I actually sprinkled a few of those on top because I thought they would taste really good and be complementary with the peaches. You could add nuts, leave them out. Again, make it your own. But this smells delicious. I just pulled it out of the oven, and the spices just smell amazing. But this is what it looks like. And I wish you could sample it here with me, but smells super fragrant. It's such a warm and cozy way to start the day. And I love getting up and not having to make anything in the morning and just kind of scoop something out and reheat it. This, if you needed a little bit more protein on the side, you could do a small serving of oats with like a scrambled egg. You could do a small serving of low sugar Greek yogurt on the side if you needed something else just to fill you up a little bit more. If you happen to make it with like a cow's milk, it would have a little bit more protein. Or they didn't have it at the Dollar Tree I shopped at, but a soy milk would also make it a little bit higher in protein. I hope you try this yummy, warm, fragrant recipe for baked peach pecan oatmeal. Or if you try and customize other combinations, Let me know. I would love to hear about what you put together. Apple and walnut would be really good. Pear and pistachio, maybe. I have all different kinds of ideas. So breakfast ready to go. I hope this inspires you to try oatmeal in the morning again. And remember that budget-friendly eating doesn't have to be difficult, and it can be delicious.